So in today's video, we are going to rank the Jason actors. 12 movies in the series, 11 different portrayals. Every Jason actor from Friday the 13th Part 2 onto the 2009 remake. Obviously, the child Ari Lehman Jason is not going to be included in this video. I'm also going to do something different that I see most other YouTubers not doing. I think every other YouTuber I've ever seen do this has ranked Kane Hodder in one position, despite the fact that he played the character on 4 separate occasions. And these 4 portrayals are all over the spectrum for me. So I am going to rank each Jason in each movie. I'm not just going to say, oh, Kane Hodder is number 5 or what have you. They're all going to have their own individual rank. Now let me preface this video by saying I enjoy most of these portrayals. In fact, all but maybe the bottom 2 or 3. So something coming in at number 8 isn't really an insult, because number 8 is still pretty good to me. My rankings are going to include the full aesthetic to Jason, head to toe, his mask design, how it fits on his face and his head, physicality and intimidation, how he looks unmasked if we see him unmasked, his kills, and how he functions within the storyline. The movie he is in will have some bearing on the ranking, but this ranking in no way will mirror what my movie ranking would be if I were to ever do one, because I believe that a good Jason can be in a bad Jason movie. It's not how everybody does it, but that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so starting right off with number 11, Ken Kirzinger from Freddy vs. Jason. It really bothers me that Jason just feels like an afterthought in this movie. They bring together these 2 slasher icons. On the opposite side, Robert Englund is phenomenal in this movie. He turns in one of his absolute best portrayals of Freddy Krueger. And that's why I feel, and I've seen that Freddy fans like this movie more than Jason fans. I love Freddy, but I'm more of a Jason guy. And on the other side, you have Frankenstein in a hockey mask. I think Ken Kirzinger turns in the most boring, listless, lifeless, stiff, awkward, frumpy, lumpy portrayal of Jason that there's ever been. He's not unmasked in the movie, so I can't rate that, but the way the mask fits on his face looks goofy to me. It's not a bad hockey mask, it just doesn't look right on him. I also prefer a completely bald Jason in the hockey mask. The long, ratty strands of hair bother me. That's not the only time you're going to hear me say this in this, and I also am not wild about the jacket. This portrayal bothers me in particular because I think of what could have been if we had a solid Jason in that movie. Number 10, Kane Hodder's portrayal in Jason X. Much of what I'm about to say is not Kane Hodder's fault, but he is the Jason in this movie, and here it must go. My problems with this movie include, well, basically everything. Other than a couple really good kills, the movie has absolutely nothing going for it. But let's focus on the aesthetic. You get 2 vastly different Jason looks in this movie, and they both are horrible. Both versions of Jason in this movie look like villains from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The costume of the first Jason is horrible. I don't like the shape or the design of the mask. They do a horrible job with blending in the rest of Jason's face into the bald cap. He looks just like a regular dude underneath with no deformations or anything. And Uber Jason looks like Lord Zed from Power Rangers on steroids. Kane really tries and puts all of himself into it, as he always does, but it's not enough with everything stacked against it. This movie is literally torture to me. It is the movie watching equivalent of being waterboarded. Number 9, Kane Hodder's portrayal in Jason Goes to Hell. Common theme here with the previous movie, not really Kane's fault. The physical form of Jason is only really in the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of this movie. If you want to hear my full thoughts on that movie, I have a bust review already posted on my channel. If we got a full-length movie with this version of Jason, I might feel differently about it, but we have the movie that we have. So let's talk about the aesthetic. They went with this bubbly Elephant Man look with Jason's head in this film. It's not my favorite. Jason has also been wearing his mask so long that it is embedded in his face in this movie. It's a cool idea on paper, but it's not my favorite look. Again, I don't love the long strands of scraggly hair, but I think it looks better here than on some of the other ones. Jason, again, an afterthought in his own movie. Can't put it any higher than this. Number 8, Tom Morga as Roy Burns in Friday the 13th Part 5. I don't want to talk too much about this movie because I still haven't done one of these, and I do want to do a Roy bust in the future. But I think Tom Morga looks pretty damn good in this movie. I love the mask. I love the blue chevrons. I think it fits his head well. I think he looks really good in the movie. I'm not wild about the coveralls because of the association to Michael Myers, but that's kind of a nitpick. He has the size, the physicality. Could I have rated him higher? I don't know. Maybe. We got some damn good Jasons coming up, but I can't help but hold it against this portrayal that it is not actually Jason. It matters to me. Number 7, Steve Dash, Friday the 13th Part 2, Hillbilly Jason, Sackhead Jason. I've already done a video on an unmasked Part 2 bust on this channel. If you want my full thoughts, you can go check out that video. But the reason that I am placing this here is because the fact that I love this movie so much has a lot of bearing. The look and the aesthetic of Jason in this movie, it's okay. I just prefer what Jason evolved into than what he started out as. The burlap sack and the overalls they're okay, but the hockey mask is definitely better. The unmasked Jason, to me, looks more like something out of the Wrong Turn movies than what I immediately think of when I think of Jason, even though that's what came first. Steve Dash was a smaller, slender guy, though, and I just don't find him as intimidating. This one could be controversial. Number 6, Kane Hodder's portrayal in Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. We've already done a video on this one, and you can see it's right in the center here on the table. If you want my full thoughts, you can go watch the video on that bust. A bad movie with many, many flaws, admittedly, as I've discussed previously. There's even things I don't like about the Jason portrayal. The fact that he appears to teleport, for instance. There is an aura and presence about Kane's first 2 portrayals of this character that I really love. The hockey mask is one of my favorites. I love the yellow color and the inverted chevrons. The rivets, strapping, and buckles are probably the best out of any Jason mask in my opinion. And I also think the hockey masks fit Kane's head really well, probably better than any other actor to portray the character. The slimy appearance of Jason in this film really bugs some people, but it's never bothered me. The unmasked look of Jason in this movie is pretty terrible, though. There's just something about this version of Jason for me, though. And of course, nostalgia is a factor. This was the newest Friday the 13th movie when I first became a fan. Now we move into the truly great Jason portrayals in this franchise. My number 5 may be surprisingly low for many of you, especially when you hear all of the great things I have to say about it. It's certainly lower than where I see it on most rankings. But we already talked about nostalgia and the effects it can have on these rankings. It can also have effect when it's not there as well. Number 5, Derek Mears from the 2009 remake. This version of Jason is actually the most dangerous and deadly that we've ever seen. He is also the most intelligent version of Jason we've ever seen. He's a mountain man living in the wilderness. He is a master trapper, archer, and axe thrower. He is probably the last version of Jason you would want after you. However, the movie he is in must factor in as well. Director Marcus Nispel was brought in to direct the film. Nispel, of course, had previously directed the excellent 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which really kicked off the remake craze of the 2000s. My guess is that the producers told him to recreate what he did in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and he took them just a little bit too literal. The look, the feel, the cinematography, the atmosphere, it all feels exactly like that 2003 Texas Chainsaw remake. It definitely doesn't feel much like a Friday the 13th movie, even though it is a Friday the 13th movie. The movie also peaks and shoots its load in the opening 20 minutes, killing off a superior cast of characters in the opening 20 minutes and replacing them with characters off Wish for the rest of the movie. The opening 20 minutes is the pinnacle of this movie, and the rest of it feels like a bad crash on cocaine. Let's talk about the aesthetic of Jason in this movie. Of the two looks you get in this movie, the first look, the sackhead look, is definitely the better of the two. However, in this movie, it's more like a sheet that he has wrapped around his head than a sack. He is way scarier and more intimidating with this look. Now, as far as the other look, I like the hockey mask. I just don't love the way it looks on his head. I hate the long blonde hair on this version of Jason. I think it looks like shit. However, in spite of that, the unmasked facial design I really like. Derek Mears is a badass Jason. However, there are still 4 Paramount-era Jasons that I still prefer. Number 4, C.J. Graham from Friday the 13th Part 6. This is a great film within the series. It's a lot of people's personal favorite, and as of late, it's the one I've been watching the most. It was the perfect movie at the perfect time with the perfect tonal change that this series needed at the time. Overall, I think C.J. Graham is an excellent Jason and an excellent Friday the 13th film. I like the mask design and the unique brown straps. I think the mask fits him well and looks good on his head. The cemetery fence post that he uses on the first 2 camp counselors is probably my favorite Jason weapon of all time. The only things I don't like about this Jason are really just nitpicks. He appears a tad skinnier than most of the Jasons of that era. I like a burly Jason. The yellow work gloves and the little Batman utility belt. I don't think that an undead reanimated Jason will be all that concerned about injuring his hands. The utility belt is cool in its own way, but I just can't see the Jason we met in the first 4 movies actually wearing that thing. All minor shit, nitpicks, nothing serious. Number 3, Richard Brooker from Friday the 13th Part 3. There is a sadistic edge to Brooker's portrayal of this character that is not seen in any other portrayal. From Chris Higgins' flashback where the filmmakers seem to imply that Jason may have raped her, to the moment he removes his mask and she recognizes him and he smiles at her with pride. As if to say, yeah, it's me, bitch. He's big, he's mean, he's intimidating. I really have no cons for this Jason. I like the unmasked design. The movie, the mask, and the kills are all solid as well. Number 2, Kane Hodder's portrayal in Friday the 13th Part 7. Kane's first and best portrayal of the character. Kane's New Blood portrayal brought a level of consistency, intensity, and rage never before seen in the series, not to mention some incredible stunt work. Risking life and limb falling through staircases, having roofs collapse on top of him, performing the longest full-body burn sustained sequence of all time up to that point, and even doing the ignition scene on camera. Kane truly did live and breathe this character, unlike any other actor to ever play Jason. Aesthetically, top to bottom, I think John Carl Buechler's design for Jason in The New Blood is the coolest in the entire series. And the hockey mask is easily in my top 2 of the franchise. Most of the film's flaws are caused by MPAA meddling, but Hodder's performance makes up for a great deal of it. Number 1, Ted White in Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Not only is Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, the best movie in the series, it also has the best Jason in the series, the best hockey mask in the series, the best story in the series, the best characters in the series, and the best kills in the series, thanks to Tom Savini. Ted White is without a doubt my favorite Jason in the entire franchise. And there you have it, my ranking of the Jasons. I'll see you guys for the next one.